Hello everybody and welcome to the MONEYSHIFT YouTube channel. I am Thanasi and today we got something pretty cool. We have a Kia EV6 GT-Line. Now this is Kia's third all-electric vehicle, but this is the first one that was built ground up to be electric. The Soul and the Nero were adaptations, but this EV6, this is all EV. And that was its intent from the jump. So I'm gonna give you guys the keys. We're gonna hop behind the wheel. We're gonna take a walk around and we're gonna see, is this Kia EV6 worth your time? And more importantly, is it worth the price? This is an awesome key. Here you go. $57,000 gets you into a Kia EV6 GT-Line. But what could that get you in other vehicles? For $1,000 more, you get a Tesla Model Y long range with more range and access to the supercharger network. For a little less money, you could get a California Route 1 Edition Mustang Mach-E that gets you 312 miles of range, which is more than the EV6, and it has more power. Or for a little more money, you can get your hands into this, a Mach-E GT at around $61,000. But let's say you don't want to have a horse badge on an SUV, you want to keep it in the family. Fear not, Hyundai has you covered. Same battery, same motors, but just a different ethos gets you into the Ioniq 5. This car was made for comfort. This car was made for practicality versus the EV6's more sporty direction. So if you want something that is, easier to use probably day to day thanks to its higher roofline and overall shape, go for the Ioniq 5. But let's say all of those cars are too expensive, but you want something that has, maybe a little more performance than your regular run-of-the-mill electric car. Fear not, you can get a 295 horsepower all-wheel drive ID4 for around $50,000. Now, this has the least range of all the cars mentioned, but it is also the cheapest by about $7,000, depending on the vehicle. So, is the EV6 worth it? Hard plastic key in the pocket. Let's take a look at what $57,000 buys you in Kia land. Well, we're going to start off with the headlights because MONEYSHIFT loves a good headlight and the Kia EV6 has incredible ones. Full LED headlights for both the turn signals, high beams, low beams, whatever. That is great. What is not great though is the gloss black that comes on the GT line. It just collects all the road grime. It looks really, really good when clean, but it just collects everything, which is no bueno. Now, the overall shape of the EV6 is solid. This thing truly does look like it was sculpted from granite, and I cannot believe this car shares everything with the Ioniq 5 because these things look so different. Now, because we got the GT line, this element right here is painted body color. On non-GT line cars, it is black, but the best part is the tires. Thick 255/45s make for a cushy, comfy ride, which is something you cannot say for the Tesla Model Y. Now, as we make our way down this sloped roof, we take a look at these wide rear hips of the EV6. Dang, this thing just looks awesome. Now, the signature design element on the EV6 is this rear LED light, and it spans all the way across the back of the Kia, and it looks awesome. It creates for a spoiler, which complements the hatch spoiler incredibly well, and Kia just did a great job at nailing this overall design. Now, as we open up the charge port, we can see an integrated sort of battery meter here on the left, which is great, and a plug, which, by the way, has 800-volt architecture, which means this thing can add 217 miles of range in 18 minutes. That's crazy. But again, because this is the GT line, it means a couple things. This piece of trim right here is a sort of black chrome, which looks great. Awkward fake vent that I don't even know why exists. But because it's the GT line, we get more gloss black. More things to collect more elements of the road. Boy, do I hate that Kia chose that, which I'm sure it looks great when clean, but man, it won't stay clean long. Now, as we open up the trunk, you look at one of the things that is really hindered by the design of the Kia EV6. While this has a large trunk, you got to remember, because of that sloping rear roof, you're not going to be putting tall things in here because they'll just bang right on the glass of the EV6 and you won't be able to close your trunk. But let's hit that power button and make our way around the side here, and let's get inside the EV6 so we can go over what $57,000 buys you in Kia land. But before we do, let's unlock the car and talk about the door handles. Touch the button once, the driver's door pops and the mirror opens. Touch it again, all the doors unlock, and you saw the handle sort of pop out there, and you have an actual action for the door, which is great. Looking at this door panel here, you have three types of materials: a slightly harder plastic, a slightly softer material, and then the softest vegan leather with a little bit of white. Meridian sound system in this car, which sounds great, but let's get in the front seat and talk about the business angle of the Kia EV6, and that is right behind the wheel. Now, looking at this two-spoke steering wheel, on the left side we have our cruise control, adaptive lane centering, the whole nine. It works tremendously well, as you'll see later on. On the right side, you have the controls for the computer and the voice command inside the car. All works really well. The most frustrating thing, however, is the hard plastic used on the horn button. The outside, soft, plush, it's great. The inside has the exact same material as my 2021 Mirage rental car. Unacceptable in a $57,000 car. What I do love is that there is a drive mode button right on the steering wheel. And also, if you put your left blinker on and your right blinker on, you get a blind spot monitor just like most Hyundai products, and it works terrific. The switchgear in this car is so premium, which makes that horn button even more annoying. On the left side here, you have access to your charge door, your trunk, your parking brake, and traction control, and there's a nifty way to open and close the HVAC there just by sliding that slider. It's, remembers the old days when cars used to do that. Love that that feature is sort of brought back in that way of turning it on and off. Now, as we make our way to this screen, this really is the cash and prizes, the piece de resistance of the Kia EV6, complemented by this screen at the bottom. You're looking at two over 10-inch screens that actually combine to create one curved sort of element. Super responsive, very quick, very clear. Hyundai Kia does screens, and they do them really well, and this sort of curved screen element is seen nowhere else in none of those other cars we talked about, and it has the most real estate in this electric car segment. Looking down here, this panel changes depending on what you're operating. In HVAC mode, it sort of looks like this. You have the ability to change it just for the driver. You have heated seats, you got cooled seats, ventilated seats, which, by the way, are not in every car in this segment, which blows my mind, and a heated steering wheel. So you certainly have all the features, but it gets even better. Hit this button right here and it opens up the camera. And what you get here is you have a immensely high definition screen. You have a 360-degree around view monitor, but if you hit this button, look! We're in a freaking video game. It's the metaverse, people. I'm just kidding. You have a carbon copy almost of your EV6 in a spot. Do I wish it was red? Yes. Is this still really, really cool and a feature usually reserved for six-figure cars? Also, yes. So major kudos to Kia for pulling this off, and the definition is incredible. It does really look good. Now tilt your head over and you'll see a bunch of USB outlets and a couple more plugs here as well. Completely flat floor and another bin to put more things. Open up the glove box and you will see that it goes so deep. It literally goes inside the engine compartment. It's huge. That thing is cavernous. Love that. So overall, minus one feature, which we will get to in a second, the interior is solid, and that is the moonroof. All the other vehicles in this segment have a panoramic piece of glass, a glass that spans all the way into the back. This, however, just has a regular conventional sunroof. Now, that's fine, but Some people, including myself, love the big piece of glass, so it's a bit of a bummer to not see it on a car that especially prides itself on the design, which usually includes a nice big panoramic glass sunroof. As we make our way to the back seat, let's remember one thing. This car has the same wheelbase as a Kia Telluride. Look at that white vegan leather complementing the black here on the GT line. Love it. Love the ambient lighting here as well. It really does look terrific. Little bit of scratchy hard plastic there on the top. We can excuse it in the back. It's tougher to excuse because this is $57,000, but there are a couple cool things here in the rear that are really nice. Number one, you got outlets in the seats. Love that. Weird handle on top, but love the outlets there for charging phones. Map pockets in the back. But the second thing, look where the vent is. It's not pointing at your ankles. It's pointing at a usable space. You can actually feel HVAC here in the back of the vehicle. And because of that, it really cleans up the center. You don't need any of that. Now, because this thing has a massive wheelbase, I have tons of legroom, but because of the sloping roof, I don't have a lot of headroom. And that is something to keep in mind. If you're around 6 feet tall, you definitely will touch the top of the EV6 in the back of the EV6, and that's a bummer. Now, as we cap off the rear of the EV6, we got to talk about where you put your hands. Cool little nifty pop out here for a cup holder, or it slides back if you don't need it. But enough of the interior. Let's get on our way and go for a drive. Before we can get up to speed, though, you know we got to do a heated steering wheel warmth check, and I am pleased to report that there are good amounts of heat all around this steering wheel, so it gets a 2 thumbs up from me. As we turn this rotary dial to drive just like the Ford Maverick, there is a couple things I want to point out on the steering wheel, and that is these paddle shifters. Now, this car does not have a conventional transmission, and as a result, these are adjustments to the regenerative braking that you can make on the fly. Are you used to the Tesla driving experience? Well, keep it in 4 and it'll have a similar effect. But if you're not and you're used to an internal combustion engine car that doesn't really have regenerative braking in it unless you're in a hybrid, then keep it at 0 and you're just fine. It'll naturally coast. Take a left out of here, but as you go, slow down. There's no one behind you. And give it the beans in normal mode. I really want you to feel how progressive this acceleration is on the EV6 GT line. Slight amount of synthetic noise, but overall it didn't rip your head off. That's pretty impressive. Now, one of the things that I want to touch on with this regenerative braking is what that number 4 setting is like. If you have your EV6 GT line or Ioniq 5 set to setting number 4, your throttle pedal acts as a brake and a gas, meaning if you floor the throttle, it accelerates, but as you release it, think about it as a way you are modulating the brake pedal. That is the best way I've explained one pedal driving to folks. But for the purpose of this, we're going to turn it off and we're going to have it behave as an internal combustion engine vehicle because maybe you haven't driven a lot of electric cars, so this will make it seem more natural to you. All right, I want you to go left over here on this highway. We're going to get up to speed, do a little bit of highway blast, and see how this EV6 does and performs on the highway. Unsure why you got in the right lane there. Maybe you're going to do a little bit of aggressive driving, but I need you to get back in the left, and we're going to get on the highway to talk about how this Kia EV6 performs. Now, this is a test drive, so it's a really short spin behind the wheel, but we can extrapolate some good things about the Kia EV6 with the short amount of time that we both have to drive it. Now, take a left here and get up to speed, throw it in sport, give it the beans. Let's get up to highway speed and see how fast this nearly 300 horsepower electric vehicle does. 40, 50, 60, and 70. Easy. And as you get up to highway speeds, you get to utilize Kia's full suite of assistive technology, which includes adaptive cruise and lane keep assist, and the Kia Hyundai stuff is some of the best in the business. If you are used to the autopilot for Tesla, fear not, because the Kia reacts exactly the same. One of the benefits to the Kia EV6 that I have not seen in the other EVs in this segment is the heads-up display does have some sort of AR type technology that you would see in the S-Class, and if you have the navigation enabled, it points you to the turns when you have them. Now, I don't know if this works for Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, but it does work when you are utilizing the Kia navigation system, and it does a really good job. Now, check out how it's keeping us perfectly in lane here, no problem. And the Kia, much like the Tesla, does take a lot of time to warn you. It's a bit interesting that that is the case. But as you take a left turn here at the stop sign and we pull into Ron Bouchard's Kia, who lent us the keys to this magnificently beautiful Kia EV6, let's round up our thoughts on this $57,000 electric vehicle. Is it worth it or not? And I gotta tell you, as we take a look at the beautiful lines of the Kia EV6, the looks are all that $57,000 price tag asks. It is a painfully gorgeous vehicle, and if it weren't for the gloss black plastic that is featured on this GT line, it would be perfect. If that was matted, it would be perfect. I know a 10 is a tough grade to give, and it means that there's no room for improvement, but this EV6 is a very good-looking machine, and it truly does look like it was sculpted from marble. Now, the powertrain is progressive. The powertrain is quick enough. You truly don't need the regular GT. This car feels plenty fast, and it has just enough range, right around 274 miles, which is more than adequate for the majority of people that are going to be daily driving an electric vehicle. Thanks to those thick profile tires, you're looking at an overall very comfy ride as well. Now, the Kia EV6 is not without its faults. There were many cases, as we showcased throughout this video, where the materials used in that car did not match the $57,000 squeeze that Kia is charging for this. The horn button was made of the same material as my 2021 Mirage rental. There were hard plastics on the door cards, things that you don't expect in a car of this price. That said, I highly recommend the Kia EV6 GT line. It truly is gorgeous, and I think Kia did a magnificent job coming out with their first battery electric dedicated vehicle in this space. Thank you everybody for tuning into the Money Shift YouTube channel. I am your host, Thanasi, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.